Now, I'm wondering now, this is just my theory, could she have been a time variant
I
herself
was just about to say
and
that,
her
bro.
mind left and she was like, hold up, you took me away from this because I'm not the true Loki that they wanted me to be, which is why
Right.
she doesn't like to be called Loki.
Loki, right?
So when she
Yeah.
was able to pull out her mind, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna undo all this, and she really knows where to drop these time bombs because she was there.
That's yep. I was like, how did she know all this? Like, how did she know to do that so well? Like, it's like she been there before. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what had me wondering too. And it's like you said, like if you look in the information, they had her under as like Loki and all like that. You know what I'm saying? Even the files and all like that, like another Loki from a different timeline and all like that. So, yeah, I
Right.
believe she probably was. I think she was part of it. And she just found her way out of it. I think she just. It's something like you said. Something must happen at some point in time where she's just trying to go back and fix all that because I feel like we could possibly see if we already seen a lady version, we could possibly see another version of Loki that we're not aware of yet. They could probably go in a different part of time and we might see a different adaptation of Loki of how that all set out back then. Because it seemed like every time we start an episode off, we going right back to time like the 1500s, 1800s, like we going right back to that time for some reason. So I know there must be
Right.
something that happens between that where that lady Loki trying to fix everything. But we still don't even know if that's supposedly Lady Loki. It could all be a trick. We really don't know that. That could all be like, you know what I'm saying, like a manipulation from her. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like her type of power too.
And she could very well be a Loki.
She could be. And my question is, man, okay, so I did not like that there was a romance factor in this episode, and I didn't like that it was the romance factor between two Lokis. That was weird. We're talking about like, well, what is love to you? And then they were like touching and stuff, and I was thinking like, this is a little freaking weird.
Here's the thing though, I don't think that was a love relationship between each other. And peep this too. When she said like when he asked her like, do you have a bone somewhere? And she said like, she's kind of playing it off, yes, no, whatever. And she's also saying like, what about you? You're a prince. Pretty sure there's a princess or a prince. So that tells you that she herself, I'm feeling like that she herself is a Loki because she knows about him to where it's either a prince or a princess. But he also peeped game. He also said, "What about you? It's the same, but except it's not real." So that also tells you that she herself is either a princess and she's looking for her prince or princess, or also the fact that she is by herself, not by herself, but like bisexual. So that tells you right. That's gonna make me think, okay. She has to be a version of Loki because again, they're one and the same, but they're different. It's almost like twins, but one's a boy, one's a girl, and they're connected, but they're still somewhat.
There was like love tension going on in this episode. You didn't feel that? You didn't see that? I was thinking to myself, this is weird.
I thought they was both just trying to play each other, like trying to figure out who can get over who. That's what I thought it was at first. Like I'm just thinking like one just trying to get over.
I thought that too.
That's what I was thinking. It was at
like,
first.
Talk love.
And that's what made me like believe. Like that's why I was kind of confused. Like if this is really the Lady Loki or this is just intentional trying to like just trick Loki out like she is like a Lady Loki. Because isn't that what Interest did in the comics when she tried to portray herself as like a Loki or something like that, but it didn't like work out something like that. Like that's why I was kind of thinking like because it's like I feel like it's like a mix of both characters in a way. I feel like because even though she looks like a Loki, but she's showing her power like she's like Interest from the comics and like that, like how she touching, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah.
The point, cuz I agree. It mixed them together.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to think.
The other thing about Lady Loki was that it was Loki's soul, but put into a female body. That was kind of my understanding, like I guess like how the comics worked.
Yeah.
To where it's like basically Loki had died, and then
he was reincarnated as a woman.
Yeah. He was reincarnated as a woman. That's right. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, in a sense, they could be like Enchantress at work.
Yeah, but this don't look like Loki at all, and it doesn't show Loki's power. Like, okay, technically, Okay, technically, there's the argument that like, okay, because she didn't have Odin and didn't have Thor, possibly didn't have her mom Freya to teach her magic, she just learned a magic ability and just made that ability hella strong. Compared to Loki learning a few different ones and being proficient in those. So that's a good argument. But I truly believe that Marvel is like, we're not going to make an Enchantress character. We're going to make, this character was going to be Enchantress and Loki, girl Loki, put in one, satisfying both motives, but like put in one character. Now they could still be like, hey, this is really Enchantress and not Loki, and she just played that part to get what she needed to get. But that would just confirm that there would never be a girl Loki.
That goes right back to my point, because even if you look when they first revealed her, like the original, her hair was black, but if you look at attention, her hair is blonde. That's all I'm saying. But they got the horns on her head like it's supposed to be like Loki. But if you look at her powers, they're so similar to Enchantress. That's why I was kind of like, I feel like they kind of like giving you like a mix of both, like with this character. It seemed like, because she's knowing a lot of information about Loki, like the Loki history and all like that. But it's like, in terms of how she used her power as a Loki, it's like it seemed like it's just a slight difference to how Loki used it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like just like how Enchantress used hers, like when she was on the Masters of Evil, like how she was using that against like all the Avengers and all like that. It seemed like similar to that. That's why I was kind of, I feel like they kind of using both. But at the end, it seemed like they'll probably go in one more like. It seemed like it goes more into I don't know, because this show, bro, it's like you don't know what to expect. Like,
they hit a random one. I'm not gonna lie.
Right, yeah. It's like I don't know what to expect.
It's been throwing me for a loop, because I've been kind of like not feeling some parts of the episodes, and then I'm like, ooh, I like that part, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And obviously, we don't know the grand scheme of what they're doing. What I feel like what they're doing is making a love connection between Loki and this girl. And I think that this girl is going to come out to be Enchantress, and that she's doing all this to probably get Loki back.
Could be that, because
her version of Loki, though. Her version, not like this other version. Because if that was the case, she probably would have just settled for this new Loki. But I think she wants her version of Loki back, because Enchantress is the little helmet that she got, the little horns. Those are the Enchantress's horns. Not Loki's horns. Girl Loki's horns were still really big.
Right.
But the Enchantress, when the Enchantress got with Loki and became like a team, she would wear the horns, signifying that she is with Loki. Which means, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how accurate they're going to go with the timelines.
Right, exactly.
That's it. So because of that, because my thought process was, because of the horns, it is Loki. I just figured Loki's might be longer because of royalty, right? So with this lady Loki not being of basically not being a royalty, that's why hers may not be that long. But also keep in mind, you could actually be on point when it comes to maybe like the love interest, because it could very well be that she maybe fell in love with Loki, and like you said, she wears the crown, wears that headband, signifying that she is with Loki, but keep in mind when it's broken off. So it could, in a sense, be that she lost her better half, which very well could be Loki. Yeah, because something happened, and that's just supposed to be like some sort of symbol, like, okay, she was with Loki, it broke off because she lost him, better half, like, trying to make some kind of metaphor, like, thing kind of work out with that. And that's why it could very well be that Enchantress took over this body. To be honest, it very well could be Lady Loki, but Enchantress took over, because if you think of the Bruce Lee concept where he's like, I don't fear the person who practices 1,000 kicks once, I fear the man who practices one kick 1,000 times. So in order for this power to take over someone's mind, to really be this strong, she has to, like you said, it's like Loki, he practices like all these different types of magic, and he perfected like 2 or 3. Whereas this one, it's mainly she just perfected one.
And it's hella perfected.
Right.
And that's why it didn't work on this version of Loki, because this version of Loki is super strong-minded,
Right. Yeah.
So that's why, like you said, she's probably trying to get into his head and be like, hey, you're this version of Loki that I want you to be.
Right, yeah, bro.
So it could still be that love interest. I just didn't fully see that. I didn't fully see like a love interest. Not really until you brought it up, and I'm like, okay, this could be like a certain spin that they're trying to do.
But Frank, I do agree with you,
That's way too much thought in 6 episodes.
Yeah, because I'm going to be honest, like, I feel like I feel like they should not go in that love interest direction, bro. I feel like they should just keep it to where they trying to figure out more about their history and their powers and like that. Because I feel they would kind of take S away from the show. They trying to build like a love interest.
Yeah,
definitely. I for surely ain't with that at all. But I kind of did figure that can be a right. I feel like that could have been a possible thing. The fact that there is like a lady lead in this show, I was kind of thinking that, but I really don't know, bro. Like, cause it seemed like she's still trying to figure out a way. Because she still don't trust this dude regardless. Because, I mean, this is Loki out of all people. So it's like she know even he can't be trusted. Even if she do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they trying to figure out a way how to get over each other. Because they still he's trying to find a way to get the timekeepers. And she's still trying to find a way to get all the charges so she reset everything. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like the end, they're going to just try to fight who can get over who. Because even when Loki had a love interest, he was still shicey. He was still doing 30 things on the table even when he had a love interest. So it's like, bruh, you don't never know what Loki got up his sleeve, bruh. But even her, too, because it's like she damn near knew more than he did. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, bruh. I feel like it's a battle between both of the magics. It's like they both trying to figure out who's stronger than who, like mentally and physically, for real.
And this was my thing, too. What do you guys think about the head TVA agent, Ravonna?
I think she's a fraud.
On it.
I think that they all frauds, bruh. I think they all frauds up in there.
Her, I think the reason why she's the head is because she's probably the one who helped the timekeepers put everything into place by going like, okay, she was probably really born into it, but she's probably the one that was like, okay, I'm gonna choose these people to be part of the TVA. Which is why she's so interested in Loki. Herself could be a variant.
She's oldest. She's probably the oldest ones there. You know, she probably first got there, and then she had one of the little glowing evisceration sticks. You know, so she probably was one of the first ones there. I think she's in on it.
Yeah, like
I think she's in on it. I think like she's working with the TV, or she's working with the timekeepers, and because she was like, the stuff that she was saying was like, come on, really? She was like, the timekeepers are really paying attention to this really, really closely.
It's like, how do you know all that? Like, that's what I love about Loki in this episode, because he was really hitting with some good points. It's like, if that's the case, where the timekeepers at? Like, what are they doing? Like, when it's all done, we're supposed to, at least when Thanos, when he snapped his fingers, we knew his purpose at the end. Like, he let it be known what he was going to do after he snapped his fingers. We don't really know an end game with these timekeepers. And they've been here this whole time, supposedly. So it's like, we don't really not necessarily know what they got going. Like, they just saying, well, they trying to fix this thing. But it's like, bro, nobody here never seen them. Nobody never talked to him. It's like, but only this person got access to him, bro. Like, something's not right with that. You could be right, Deontay. Like, she could be some type of, like important, like, lead him to, like, how this TVA even got here in the first place. Because, like, it seemed like she's the only.
She could be them. She could be like, oh, there's three, three timekeepers up there, but I'm the real timekeeper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Like I don't know. It's
that would be some bullshit for real.
For real, bro. It definitely is.
Pulling that called from Falcon and Winter Soldier. The what's it called? Where that one chick, was the
She was the
damn. What was it called?
Not an ambassador. She was called the. I know what you're talking about, bro. She helped them out getting something. What is Sharon Carter? But what was the broker?
Oh yeah. I probably didn't even know what y'all talking about at first. Oh, okay.
I knew it was one of those broker or something.
Yeah, so for her to be the power broker, that's why I was like, oh, okay, this could be that potential thing where it's like, okay, she was the power broker. Is she really the power broker? Okay, she is the power broker, and that could be the same way how this chick is. She's like, I am the timekeeper. What you want?
I doubt it a little bit, because I feel like if she had even a little bit of more power, then she probably wouldn't be doing what she's doing now. Like, she couldn't even stop them. Like, I feel like she would have been able to do something. I think that she's probably one of the first variants the timekeepers ever got, and they kind of just brainwashed her from day one. I also think that if you think of the worst case scenario, like I look at things like how people should look at Palpatine, right? Look at the worst case scenario of the person in their position, right? Their position is that they have the ability to monitor people's lives, right? They got the ability to monitor people's lives and monitor their destinies. And they can find people who stand out, those who are unique, those who are special, right? Bring them to one isolated place and brainwash them. That sounds like the worst. That sounds like yo, you setting up for something horrible.
I guess it kind of be like kind of like the timekeepers could have very well chosen who could be part of the TVA based on this. Like, you know what? No matter how we kind of like what you were saying before, it's like, you know, no matter how many times we tried to steer this person in this direction, they keep getting back to this one. So I was like, okay, so we're gonna choose them to be part of the TVA because then we know it'll actually go the way we want it to go.
Wait, that just made me realize something though. So, can this TVA could be the reason what brings because we was thinking about based off the snap and everything could bring these new villains in, but what if it's this TVA that brings like people off like the villains based off time like Kang the Conqueror and all like that here because they the ones supposedly are like the new leaders talking about how this timeline is supposed to go. I'm like, if that's the case, can Kang the Conqueror can end up in this too? Like his power, he can go through any part of time. Like it don't matter if it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wonder like the shit that they do, does that brings all the new villains and all like that up into this? Because everything the TVA is doing is saying like they seem like they're just setting rules going forward now. Before we just seemed like it was just based off the stones and all like that, but now we just hear this place like everything is from the TVA now, and it's like, bro, where they come from? Like how does it even been how are we now just hearing about the TVA after all this time, bro? People said it was kind of just based off because the snaps and all that was happening, but I'm like, nah, we should have been knew about this, bro. If we knew about alternate timelines and all like that based on Doctor Strange, how are we not aware of the TVA that's here? That's why I feel like it definitely has to be fake, bro. It definitely was like just all an illusion, like a mind trick to play, please, bro.
At least Thanos, like at least right when Thanos would have came to the, how do I say this? At the end of the Endgame, when Thanos came to the present, his army, right? That's against the time stream, and then he was about to snap. Bro, that would have been the worst.
Right. So why didn't he capture Thanos out of all people, but you would capture a Loki? Literally, that destroyed half the universe. But why not? But they did say, but I remember when they did say some things was supposed to happen or like that. And I don't know if that him doing that plays a factor into that. I'm not sure, but we don't know if that's true or not of what they saying though. So it's like I don't know.
I kind of have a theory on that. I think if these timekeepers are really who they say they are, that's probably why they captured a lot of people with the Infinity Stones. Because they're like, you're going to use these stones for something. But I think they were like, okay, you know what? Based on what we're seeing here, we see Thanos is going to do this, but then inevitably destroy the Infinity Stones. The Infinity Stones is probably what's giving them a whole bunch of problems, right?
Sure, I can see that.
It was more than 6 that was
so it's like, okay, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, we're going to let Thanos do this. That way he can destroy the Infinity Stones. And then we're going to let the Avengers do what they're going to do. Because, again, they're going to bring back the population, which inevitably messes up our time stream. So they're going to bring back half the population, not just on their planet, but around the universe. Then we're going to get rid of Thanos. We're going to allow them to get rid of Thanos. Just from the simple fact that Thanos in that timeline is going to probably that timeline basically ventures off into something else, and they can probably just fix that however they wanted to fix it, right?
So what about before going to the present? Like, what about Thanos? Like, so if Thanos never came to the present and did that last battle, the Avengers would have still got all the stones and snapped everybody back into existence. They should have stopped if they really believed what they preached, they would have stopped Thanos when Thanos found his second, when Thanos found the second Nova, her name Nova, right? What's her name?
Who you talking about?
His daughter? His daughter. When he found the daughter with the information in her head, and he planned to come to the present time, they should have stopped him right then because they're like, oh, he about to mess up us bringing back all these billions or trillions of people. They could have stopped him right then, but they let him come to the present, bring his whole army to the present, and possibly do another snap. That's ridiculous.
Pete Game, though, who was the main one who stayed, who came with Thanos? Who was the main one?
Gamora.
It was Gamora.
Only one.
It was Gamora, right?
Gamora was the only one who's in the galaxy, the Guardians of the Galaxy, who's missing. They probably still need Gamora to finish off whatever it is the timekeepers, deemed correct. So they're like, okay, because it's a soul for a soul, they probably didn't need Black Widow anymore. But they're like, okay, we still need Gamora. So to do that, we're going to allow Thanos to come from 2014 to, 22 or 23 in Gamora, and we can continue on what our plan is.
Yeah.
That sounds hella dictatorship. That sounds very.
It really do.
Picking.
But I definitely see what you mean.
They sound like, okay, we got to do this little thing, just to get it our way. I don't know, man. I'm starting to believe what Terry's saying. I'm starting to believe they are not good people.
Yeah, I really do believe it's all.
That, though. Remember in the very beginning when they were talking about even if it's just as something that work. They showed the guy, bringing him to trial, and then they're just asking him like, "Oh, why were you late to work?" I didn't see I was late to work, but they put him on trial as if he intentionally manipulated time. Same way as Loki, he didn't manipulate time. He just grabbed the Tesseract, went to a whole different area, and they're like, "Oh, why did you mess up the timeline?" And he's like, "I got my brother." "No, you. I can't work for you. What the hell are you talking about?"
Right. In his perspective, he have a right to do that. That is true.
The timekeepers are like, "Nah, that messes up the entire plan."
Right, because I mean that was the sole purpose of going to Earth in the first place. So he can't be like it wasn't like I messed up the timeline. This was basically That's why I love he had a right to have to say that to the judge up in that room because he had a valid point to say because from his perspective he's not really aware of what's going on. He just thinking he can catch the best out the test right. He not even knowing the bigger picture. He haven't experienced that shit. So it's I definitely feel what you mean on that part for surely, bro. Because But like you said, it was they said it was supposed to happen, but that's what in terms of because remember they snapped their fingers. All right, so it was Thanos, Bruce Banner, and then Tony. All of them. That don't cause no topic because I know that Bruce was the one that brought everybody back, but the fact that when Tony snapped his fingers, that because he basically wiped all the Black Order, it seemed like he just wiped them off. It seemed like. When he snapped his fingers away, because I wondered, it's I feel like this all goes back to some with Tony and Captain America because if you remember, we don't really know what he did with all the stones. We kind of know that he kind of went to create an alternate timeline. He stayed there till he got older like that, but there's so much that happened between all that time that we don't know about, and it's even in these shows we're going seeing these flashbacks and like that. I wonder do we see anything with Cap? Later on, going on to phase 4, we see anything with Tony Stark because he did figure out the time travel and all like that. So I'm I know for a fact that there's something that they know that Tony know that we're not aware of yet. Because if he could figure out time travel out of all this stuff they were trying to figure out, they literally lost half the planet. You know what I'm saying?
But when he figured out time travel, he had to use the quantum realm to get that going.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, Ant-Man definitely needed Ant-Man for that. Because I ain't gonna lie, if he never would have came out, that probably would never been the case. But that's what made me realize, I wonder if, Iron Man knew about, not the TVA, but just more about stuff that was out there because he didn't want to snap his fingers last and he didn't want to figure out time travel and all like that. And plus, we don't know how much, even, for instance, even if you've seen the Endgame, how he was explaining to his daughter about how the afterlife and all like that works. If he could explain all that, he probably could explain more information that's out there, even when he's dead. He could be an AI of himself trying to explain more what's out there because he know he's the brain out there that's
only he had the force.
you might as well say that, right? That's what I'm saying, right? I feel especially if we lead into Secret Wars, we can definitely see we'll definitely probably see them one more time where they kind of explain more about how this is all coming out now, based off this multiverse and like that. Because I feel like that's where it's going now. Because we see Wanda mess with this Darkhold book and. We seeing this TVA where it's saying it's creating all these timelines and all like that. And it's going to lead to Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 3 where we're going to see 3 different versions of Spider-Man. And we're going to see basically Doctor Strange trying to fix up, basically go to these planets to fix up everything. And he got to deal with Wanda too. So I'm bro, I definitely feel like it's more out there. But this Loki show, it's just having such behind the mystery, bro. It's we really got to wait literally next Wednesday just to figure out where they going to go next. At least with Falcon and WandaVision, we basically knew the direction, but this one, bro, it's like, damn, I don't even know what to expect, bro. It's like they hit us with a curveball every time, bro. Because I didn't even think they was going to be on that planet.
I don't think we're getting 3 different Spider-Mans in the next Spider-Man movie. I don't think we are.
You don't think so?
They may mention something about other Spider-Mans, but I doubt we're going to actually see all 3. Because that's too much for Sony to want to get into. Because technically, Andrew Garfield could actually still technically be under contract for Spider-Man through Sony, but not necessarily trying to add him into the MCU. Like, he could technically still be somewhat under contract for that.
Yeah, I don't think...
And then, we do not need Tobey Maguire to come with his depressing-ass Spider-Man. We really don't. We really don't.
I was about to say, that's what I'm trying to see one more time. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm like, bro, if I could see Tobey one more time, bro... Okay, this is the only reason why I say that. Because we never seen his end. Like, we all know, bro, that third Spider-Man, bro, it did not end it the way we wanted to, bro. I feel like this is what this Spider-Man 3 is basically is. It's basically like closing the Peter Parker storyline, bro, like in terms of all of them, because we still haven't got no ending to Amazing Spider-Man or the Sam Raimi one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like the first part we can actually finish the trilogy, but it seemed like now the fact they got all the rights to these characters, they're trying to, and now we got the multiverse, they're trying to figure out a way where they could just bring all of them in so they can close all of them, because it seemed like they're going into the Miles Morales Spider-Man right after this, it seemed like, because they already teased the Prowler up in the MCU already in the second Spider-Man movie, and like you already know when Miles Morales, that's when he basically makes his introduction when the multiverse and all like that breaks through. So I'm like, I feel like they're trying to just wrap up Peter Parker's like story and all like that. But I have no problem with them 3 coming in. My problem is the villains, because that was the reason how the 2 movies from back then didn't work, because they put so many villains in it. You couldn't, and main thing what makes a movie work, you got to make the villains from their perspective work to make the movie more. That's how The Dark Knight worked. That's how Spider-Man 2 worked. That's how Infinity War worked. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get the villains right, bro, it ain't gonna make no true evidence of the superhero movie. You know what I'm saying? And if you threw hecka villains up in it, I don't know how it's gonna work. But if you're building up a Sinister Six, I won't mind seeing that, because I know this ain't gonna be the like last one. I feel like it could be like where Peter Parker sees something happen in the timeline where we'll probably see like a cameo at the end of the movie where they all 3 end up together and they trying to figure out what's going on and what can they do to fix everything back. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a movie where it's just based off them 3 and all like that.
If they were to do it that way, to kind of play into the multiverse of madness with Doctor Strange, they could potentially, as far as Spider-Man goes, they could potentially use Doctor Strange 2 to make that work, and then try to continue that over on Sony's side. So it's like, it's not necessarily MCU, but they played off of what happened in the MCU to now continue the story on Sony, because Sony's not going to give Marvel the rights to really want to do a Sinister Six, trying to bring in Morbius and Kraven the like they're not going to bring in all that.
It depends on what the contract is.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
Sony's letting Marvel use their character because they're getting a piece of the pie.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Their contract was basically coming to an end, and they basically agreed on, I think it was like 2 or 3 movies for Spider-Man to appear in. Yeah. But I think only one of them was his own.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like, okay, we could potentially see Spider-Man in Multiverse of Madness, which would then also lead into his Spider-Man movie, which could then lead into, let's just say, one more movie that's in maybe Phase 5. But before Phase 5 really takes place, because of what happened in Multiverse of Madness, and then what's going to happen in No Way Home, which No Way Home could very well potentially be what happened after Multiverse of Madness, because he's trying to get back to his timeline.
Right.
Like, it could very well be that. But as far as trying to happen with the Sinister Six and all of the Spider-Man villains, that I could see that potentially going over to Sony's end, because they're like, okay, we let Marvel, use our character. Well, we let them borrow their own character.
I know, it's so crazy.
And then potentially have it be like, okay, since we have Morbius, we have Venom, we're going to have Vulture in the Morbius movie. They're already doing Kraven, the Hunter.
Yeah.
Why not just let the MCU do their thing with Spider-Man? Basically kind of like, laying the foundation, and then using Tom Hiddleston as Spider-Man on their end, to where it's not MCU, but they just used it to kind of like like I said, build up that foundation. That's why we're gonna have a Doctor Strange 2. That's why No Way Home is titled No Way Home, because of whatever reason. You know?
But I know Doctor Strange
it's probably a long shot there, but that's just what my brain is thinking.
But I know for a fact, bro, Sony
have a cartoon Spider-Man.
Right.
They can do that.
Yeah, they could. But my thing is, Sony, like, it's proven, bro. I feel like they got lucky with Venom, bro, because they ain't got a good history of making especially the Spider-Man characters, bro. Sam Raimi was probably the best they probably did so far, and it's like, bro, they know they need the MCU just because they know the fans ain't gonna want to see a Sony version again unless you trying to build it all up together. Because it's like, bro, we already seen the Major Spider-Man. We already knew how that turned out. I feel like the only way it's gonna work unless you team up with the MCU with this, bro. I feel like that's the whole point of doing it in the first place, because I feel like it would never work if you had the MCU. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in a way it's like a mix of both. Like you said, they need their piece of the pie too. It's like they just trying to get their fair share up in it, bro. Because at the end of the day, they need the MCU, but the MCU do not need Spider-Man, bro. They can, even though he's the most important character in the story going so far, one of the most of them, but it's like, bro, they could continue the story without him if they wanted to, bro. Like, it's still a whole universe they can still continue without him, bro. Where Sony is like, bro, that's their only back end is Spider-Man, bro. That's it. Like,
they need him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like,
you're real. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, here's actually proof why the MCU does not need Spider-Man. And Frank, correct me if I'm wrong. In the Marvel comics, was it not the Fantastic Four who started off the Avengers? The Fantastic Four was basically the head.
Yeah, they were the first ones.
They was the first team, They was, yeah.
So they were the first Avengers, right? So the MCU proved they did not need the Fantastic Four to have a team called the Avengers. So just from that alone, it proves they don't need Spider-Man in the MCU. Because even in the comics, Spider-Man is not considered a mutant. He's not considered an Avenger.
No.
He's considered a consultant. They need him when they need him.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, you is right about that, bro. Yeah, you is right.
So now,
he's a friendly neighborhood
Spider-Man, friend neighborhood Spider-Man, right? For real, right?
So now tell me, the MCU was basically not just talking to Sony saying, "Hey, we want Spider-Man as a consultant because we would like to have him in the MCU to help out Tony Stark's character." That's basically what it was.
Actually, that's exactly
you ain't gonna lie, I can't argue with you on that one, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to say, because if we look at him now, we basically call him Iron Man Jr. right now, and it's because it was trying to fix out that art between him and Tony Stark, because you clearly needed him for Civil War, but I feel like it was some movies like Spider-Man was needed, because you can't leave out, he's one of the most important characters of Civil War, like, because he's one of the first heroes that chose a side, but I'm trying to remember, for instance, like, I don't know. I see what you're saying, though, but I feel like with this story, you definitely need Spider-Man for this. Because Spider-Man does play an important part up in Civil War and in the Infinity Gauntlet story. Like,
does he, though?
I mean, he do fight Thanos, bro. I ain't going to say he's the reason why they won, but I'm like, he do fight Thanos, bro, and he does help, like, them try to find the Infinity Stones, too. Like,
without him, it would have been more difficult, for sure, because Thanos is Thanos. And with all of them, he still won. But I think without him, Thanos would have still won.
Yeah, regardless, yeah, he still would have won, yeah. But I'm saying just in terms of the comics and the story, when, like, Spider-Man, he plays an important part in the
comics.
That's what I'm trying to say. Sure. Like, I feel like they were just trying to keep it respectful for the comics and everything. Because if you look at Civil War, then was basically the whole team you seen from the comics. That's what made me want to watch it, because you seen Black Panther with Iron Man. It was just basically how I seen it in the games and like that. So that's what made me, bro. It's just, like, to be honest, like when they first started the Avengers, the first thing I wanted to see, like, what if we seen the mutants, like the Sony version of, like, X-Men and the same rank Spider-Man with this Avengers? Like, I was waiting for that to happen, but then when they was bringing up with they said they was gonna do like a reboot and like that, bring new characters, I was just kind of like how that was gonna work. But the fact that we got this multiverse, you can possibly make that happen now. Like the stuff that we was basically kind of asking for, just knowing the MCU, they just like to do it slightly different to how the comics is slightly. So, I mean, he's not needed, to be completely honest, bruh. But he is one of the most important characters in Marvel. Period. Like, you can't leave Spider-Man out.
I don't know
bro.
how that happened.
Right.
It happened like that too.
That's really
like,
just
when you
based
think
off.
about it, if you were to ask somebody who's their favorite Marvel character, a lot of people will say Spider-Man, Wolverine, They're going to say Spider-Man or somebody from X-Men. That's most likely what happens. Or Avengers.
But mostly, I think mostly X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Mostly X-Men and Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is definitely an A-list character for Marvel. No doubt about it. Spider-Man is to Marvel as Batman is to DC.
True, yeah. That's because they always compared the two, right? They is like the golden boys for each. They are like they golden boys.
But Batman was a part of the Justice League. I guess Spider-Man was a part of the Avengers too. Never mind.
I don't want to say it like that. I just look at it in terms of the companies that they is their favorite characters. Yeah.
He was part of the Avengers, but he wasn't necessarily actually an Avenger. That's why the same way, as you see in Infinity War, he was like, wait, am I an Avenger? And he went, yep, you're officially an Avenger. And also, let me get his work done. So he was an Avenger, but he was a consultant.
Yeah.
Okay. You think Batman? I guess Batman was the Justice. Yeah, and he was a consultant. You make a good point.
Like he worked for Justice League. In a sense, he on the Justice League, but he's also like, I got a contingency plan if y'all mess up.
Exactly.
And if you don't want me to have a contingency plan in case one of y'all go rogue, then I don't deserve to be here. He just takes a more aggressive approach towards it, really. Whereas Spider-Man is like, man, he's still a kid. Like, he's still trying to learn everything. Batman's like 36 years old, being like, man, F you. Oh, straight up.
For real.
Because he lived life. So that's why in this case, like I said, I think going forward, so we already got Phase 4. We got just about everything in for Phase 4. I'm not sure where Guardians 3 will take place.
So I think about Phase 4 so far. Like regarding, what y'all think about Phase 4 regarding the content that was given, as in quality and amount of the content that was given, and the steps that they're taking to set up for the next phase.
I definitely respect it because we felt like these characters that we seeing now wasn't getting enough shine before. You know what I'm saying? They was putting so much light on the first 5 Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't really see we seen a little bit of Loki in the first Avengers. You know what I'm saying? But Wanda and Vision and especially Falcon, like, we didn't really see too much about them because they was basically under everybody else's shadow the whole time. So it's cool if they finally start to get see they shine, and they get to display more of their powers, where the whole phase before, it was just everything was connected to the Infinity Stones, and you just bring the main characters up into that. But now it's like they breaking more down their powers, and they breaking more down of like just they personalities and everything in general and all like that. So I definitely like the approach they taking. It's definitely different than what we seen in the first, like in the last, like even in the first 5, like when we start off with Iron Man and all like that. But I won't necessarily say it's definitely better we seen, but in terms of what we seen in terms of the content, bro, they definitely delivering it, bro. Because it's Disney Plus, this is a show, and it looks like a movie. You know what I'm saying? So they delivering it. I'll give them that, bro.
I'm still kind of 50-50 with it, mainly because so far in Phase 4, the only thing we've really gotten was these 3 TV series. So for me, it's kind of really hard to say what direction they're going in, because I know they're good. I know they're steering away from the Infinity Stones. I understand that, but like, what's going to happen with Doctor Strange 2? What's happening with the Eternals? The Eternals is going to be like the one that's really just like, damn, is y'all going to pull a Thor 2 up on us now? Because Thor 2, let's keep it real. The MCU, Thor 2 is like top 3 of the worst movies in the MCU. Not that it's not important, but it's just like, I wasn't really feeling it too much to where you're like, I'm not really good. There's nothing really to go back and rewatch with that.
But they really brought the Dark Elves and everything up in that. They did not execute.
Like, where was y'all? The TVA, where was y'all?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of still 50-50 with it, but because it's Kevin Feige, I trust him.
Right.
I trust in the direction that he's going to go in. If he can pull this off, go to a little off subject. If Kevin Feige can pull this off without the Infinity Stones, without Iron Man, without Captain America, without Thanos, without Spider-Man, I could put a whole lot more trust in him when he goes to do the trilogy for Star Wars. I'll put way more trust into him.
Mm-hmm.
What? What'd you say?
Kevin Feige, he's supposed to be doing a trilogy for Star Wars.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't
You're right.
They confirmed that.
Yeah, I was hearing about that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So because of that, I'm like, if he could pull this off with all these different things for Phase 4,
I would for sure give him that same confidence if he could do this. Because honestly, I'm also kind of I'm between both of y'all regarding my feelings. I'm kind of 50-50, but maybe a little bit more interested in the shows. The only reason is because they took a real risk with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that was a good show.
Yeah, bro.
Like they took a risk, bro, with that playing that race card and playing race relations and social economic issues and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yo, and it went well. A lot of the other shows I wasn't feeling at first, and there were some of the things that I didn't understand while we was watching it because it just didn't make no sense. And I think it's not supposed to. If we're watching what he's going to do and he's doing what we want him to do, then his next phase is going to be so raw because of all the stuff that we don't know now. That's going to be important for what's next. But if he can't do that and we just watch tech and stuff that just didn't make sense, it's going to be for nothing.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely have my
I think
faith,
the reason why I think the reason why they took such a big risk with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think you can thank Anthony Mackie for that.
Man,
he was definitely putting pressure on him for that for sure. Yeah,
you can thank his butt.
For Marvel, and they're saying he said, look, even at Marvel, they got to do better. And I'm like, oh, he said that. I didn't see him come
out. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that interview. Yeah.
Like, you know what? Good job, because when you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, and what did Isaac say? Isaiah. He said they're not ready to see a black Captain America. What was we saying? Not even like barely, not even 15 years ago. What was we saying?
For real.
Yes, Terry. You a Tupac fan? What did he say 20 years ago?
Right, for real. We'll never see a black president. For real, we'll never see a black president. Straight up.
So what did they do? Did you guys watch the Disney event where they was talking about Avengers Campus?
Yep. I seen that. Yeah.
At the end.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Black Captain America. Tell me a whole bunch of people. I ain't gonna say it's going up on YouTube, but tell me a whole bunch of certain people was not happy about that.
For real, bro.
And what was that? What did they say in the show? They ain't ready to see a black Captain America. And they said, man, the hell with y'all. We gonna do this. We got a black president. Before they even really knew it, they was gonna do
that. And it wasn't like he was the main character. Right. Bucky was technically also main character, but he was really supporting actor.
He was a supporting lead.
That's crazy you say that though, bruh. Because everybody.
If they got a black guy who needs a white guy to help him out, or if they want to do the other way around, you got it's like the reverse Neo and Morpheus. Before it'd be a white guy need a black guy help. Now it's a black guy needing a white guy help. It's always something.
Right.
It's always something.
But that is crazy though, bruh. Because
he was the lead.
You remember in the last, because I remember I watched this interview, and this is when Elizabeth Olsen first got the role to play Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron. And if you watch the interview, she was literally explaining the House of M story. Like, this is when it wasn't even a thing yet. You know what I'm saying? She literally put it into existence. Like, because even Kevin Feige said he even went back to that interview she did when she was talking about, I always wanted to explain, like, the House of M comic and all like that. And it's crazy. Eventually, they end up doing it. So, it shows that Kevin Feige definitely listens to the fans of giving the people what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the fact in terms of Black Captain America, bro, they definitely took a risk with that one. They definitely did that, bro, because the fact they even, like, they tried to hit there was a Black Captain America that was out there. Like, I didn't even think they was about to even go there, bro. Like, to say that there was an actual Black Captain America that was out there, like, I didn't even think they was even about to bring that up, bro. Like, they really went so far with this show, bro. It touched on so many great points, bro. Especially things you can definitely relate to a lot of things in that show, bro. So that's why I was definitely feeling that, bro, for surely.
I'm looking at it right now. Apparently, at the MTV Movie and TV Awards, Anthony Mackie won Best Hero and Best Duo because of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That was Nickelodeon, right?
Oscars, but they will take it.
Right.
That's how you do that.
They could take any accolades they could take, bro. It's Marvel, and plus, like, it's literally they the hottest out right now, bro. Ain't nobody. The only person that's competing is really Star Wars, but that's basically almost the same people. So it's like
the same people.
So it's like, bro, Disney is winning, people. Bro. Like, for real.
Netflix though doing their thing. Netflix.
Yeah, the Netflix exclusives got some good ones too. Yeah.
Dang, still the competition of Disney getting their own channel or their own service didn't really like stop them.
Oh yeah, this is one. I'm off. What you about to say, cuz?
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, when it comes to Kevin Feige, going back to what you were saying, he listened to his fans, but he listens to the actors. Because, like you said, when it came to Elizabeth Olsen, she was like, "Yo, like, I would just love her to be House of M," and she was like, she was like going into explaining about House of M, and what ended up happening, we got WandaVision that was based off of House of M. Can you listen to Anthony Mackie about, like, yeah, we need to have more of all these different things. And then he puts him at the forefront of doing that if Falcon Winter Soldier. And then keep in mind, we're also getting Captain America 4. We're getting the Captain America 4.
That probably would never happen if it was for Mackie. Right. Yeah, bro. That's why.
Tell me we ain't about to show up and show out at the movie theater.
No,
that's what makes it dope.
I ain't go front. That's how you do it.